Hey there, Pisces. Welcome to your reading for the week of September 1st. Happy September. You have this Winds of Change card. It says your surroundings will undergo a transition. You have the Serendipity card. It says bright new prospects are on the horizon. Yes, both of those things are true. Pisces, you have Uranus in your your fourth house. And Uranus in the fourth is kind of like interesting because it can be like, random things happening in the home. It's actually a really funny story is, my shower is clogged. Obviously, I don't have any hair. So whoever lived here before me must have been, had long ass hair because it's clogged up my shower. And so so I've been waiting for days for someone to come and fix it because all the plumbers have been very busy in my area, and I couldn't get anyone to come out till today, which is Monday. And so it's been like chaos, right? Which is typical Uranus in Gemini type energy. And don't worry, I've been hosing myself off in the front yard, and so don't worry, I basically have been taking a shower, right? How I haven't been arrested, I don't know, but what I would say here is that, again, this is typical energy that could be happening for you, especially this week, where, there could be some sort of change in the home or something you have to take care of. It's definitely popping into my head here. And, I wouldn't worry too much about it. You'll be fine. But again, there could be a lot of changes. There probably will be a lot of changes that happen in the home during Uranus and Gemini. Now, Uranus is going to retrograde out of Gemini. It actually doesn't leave Gemini until about November 7th, I think, is the day that it actually leaves Gemini. Don't quote me on that. I can't remember if it's the 6th or the 7th off the top of my head. I think it's the 7th, but it's going to go back into Taurus this year. So, we'll get a little bit of a break from it. But again, I don't know. I still also kind of feel like this is good energy for Pisces because, even when it, in Gemini, it might make you do things to like make yourself more free. And the reason I'm saying this is because your first card here is the Page of Wands. And I think, that Uranus and Gemini during this time, you might realize that you don't want to like be bound to an area, if you are, or you might realize the opposite. Remember, Gemini goes both ways, so you might realize that you do want to, put your roots down somewhere and like have a home base, right? So a lot of you, I don't know, that's popping into my head as important for you. The other thing that I would be focusing on is any new prospects. You have that card, it says bright new prospects are on the horizon. Could be a lot of opportunities coming in here for you here, Pisces. I feel really good about this reading. I have felt pretty good about your reading since September. Like your September reading was pretty decent, and everybody's was kind of a little off, but we have 2 eclipses in September. But I don't know, I feel a change in this reading, Pisces, which is probably good. You have the 5 of Swords. Yeah, time to take bigger risks. It's like I noticed at the end here, I'll show you in a minute, but you have this immerse card, right? And it says immerse, like dive into, be a part of, it's like commit yourself to something. Those are all the things that are popping into my head with that immerse card. I noticed it when I pulled it, a couple minutes ago, and I was like, yeah, it would be a good time for Pisces to do that, but it might be a little bit of a risk. Like, if you're going to do something right now, anything, I think you have to really, really commit to what you're doing. You have to like dive deep. You have to be a Pisces. It's like you can't just skim the surface, right? And I think this is true for everyone because of Pluto and Aquarius. And what's really funny is that you have the Aquarius card coming up next. So, you definitely could be dealing with this like Aquarian energy, which you are, you're born right after Aquarius, Pisces. So, makes perfect sense. And, I think that a lot of you could be kind of like working with that need to go deeper. The reason I say this about Aquarius is because, Aquarius is about, kind of like getting the evidence of something, especially Pluto and Aquarius. But, it's like we have to get the evidence. But this also means that if we want to be something in life, we have to produce the evidence that we are that thing, right? So diving deep and committing to things is kind of like the way to go. You have the Judgment card. Yeah, I think a lot of you could be, like, I don't think Pisces is necessarily changing their purpose. I think Pisces is more kind of like waking up to what their purpose actually is. And, it's probably a combination of things that you've been doing your whole entire life, really. And so, you know what I mean, Pisces? It's like probably you are, combining a bunch of experiences, and it's like you're realizing like, oh, all these experiences in my life have added up to this big picture of who I am, and now I need to use my skills to do XYZ, right? And obviously, you're all different, so I have no freaking clue what you're going to be doing, but it wouldn't surprise me if a lot of you were, being more on purpose, and, obviously that would be a good thing for you, Pisces, so I like to see that. I also, by the way, if you want love, again, as usual, it's a really good time for you for love, but you're going to have to go and get it. It wouldn't surprise me if someone was waking up to you, like, it's like, I don't know, I feel like someone could, this could be someone you've been around before, is like what I'm trying to say, because you have the Page of Cups here. I don't think you've dated this person. I think it's just like a person that's been, you have been around. With the Page of Wands, yeah, no hesitation. I feel it would be a bad week to hesitate. It's like sometimes if we hesitate, I think that's where we hurt ourselves. Like, if you've ever seen, I always use the example of if you've ever seen someone who's like going to like, there are like funny videos on YouTube, right? Where if people who are like going to dive off a diving board and they hesitate and they jump up and they come down and they hit the diving board because they hesitated. That's like what I feel here. It's like if you're going to do something, I think you have to like do it. You can't, if you hesitate on something and you don't do it, then, you're going to hit the diving board. So no hesitation. With the Five of Swords, you have two cards. You have the High Priestess and the Four of Pentacles. Yeah, definitely a good time to trust your intuition. Also a good time to leave comfort zones here. One thing that I've been telling and kind of like warning Pisces about, it's not really a warning, but just something to think about. Just looking at Piscean astrology, I could see how maybe between now and like March of next year, so basically the end of your birth time, right? Like at the end of your birthday, Pisces birthday time, there could be, like if you're going to do things, that you're going to be getting a lot of criticism, and Five of Swords, Four of Pentacles, there are going to be people who say, like, don't do this, don't do that. There could be, like, a lot of trolls. And sorry, I have something stuck in my eye here. But, there could be, like, a lot of trolls and things like that tell you not to do this or that or whatever. Your job is just to ignore it, right? And, again, this is only until, like, March. So I wouldn't worry too much about it. With the Judgment card, you have the Ten of Wands. There is definitely something that you need to release. Probably doing things the hard way, Pisces, personally, I like the Ten of Wands. He's carrying those 10 wands, but he's about to reach his home in the background, so he's about to release that burden that he's carrying. But, it is a heavy burden, and, it can definitely represent needing to release a burden, this card, and also needing to, he might be just choosing to do things, make things harder than they need to be. You know what I mean? I also think that it's time for Pisces to show the world how to live through inspiration. And it's like, instead of trying to think, like, I think you have a lot of good ideas. You have that bright new prospects are on the horizon, right? And I think a lot of these could be coming from source. But I think as a Pisces, I can tell you that I think sometimes us Pisces, we don't actually listen to our intuition. You've probably heard me say this before. I think that Pisces is the most intuitive, but sometimes we don't listen to our intuition, right? So it's like sometimes we might download an idea that is like genius from the universe, but we also probably doubt it because we're like, yeah, it can't be that easy. I think this is saying like, let things be easy, especially the things that you're downloading. Next, in the area of what's coming in for you, you have this Taurus card. It says Perseverance. It says, remember, slow and steady wins the race. Awaken your inner bull to give you patience. You have this Aquarius card. It says Rebellion. It says, think outside the box and stretch the boundaries of what could be. Yes, that's definitely what this reading is asking you to do, is like, to bring those crazy ideas down to earth. But I also feel it's asking you to make the full commitment, to dive deep into, an interest, a topic, something that you want to do. It's like if you want to do something, if you're saying, I want to write a book, you can't just write one page and then give up. That's not going to work, right? And you can't just say like, oh, well, no one's read it yet. And even though you've only written one page and you haven't published it, right? So it's like, if you're going to do something, then, if you're going to write a book, I feel like this is saying, like, no, you need to go through the entire process, because if you stop at any point along the way and try to get feedback, especially between now and March, you're not going to get it. People are actually going to tell you you're stupid, or that it's not going to work, or that your ideas are bad, right? It's not until you get to that finished product that you're going to, get the result you actually want. So, it is kind of like a challenge from the universe. I think the universe is trying to say, Pisces, are you strong enough to, like, listen to yourself for once instead of, like, needing someone else to tell you that something is a good idea? And I think I've said this to you before, like exactly what I just said. So, something to think about. You have the Hierophant, which is really funny because this is Taurus, but to me, the Hierophant can represent thinking outside the box, and the Aquarius card says think outside the box, right? And stretch the boundaries of what can be. So, I think it's definitely time for you to think outside the box. A judgment, on the Judgment card, those people, the box, the coffin represents their old life. Outside the coffin is their new life. They have to leave the coffin, right? And so I feel that for some of you with that card. I feel like there could be blessings that you've been hoping and praying for that are coming in for you. One thing I want to say about this here, Pisces first, is that, there are two people on this card, and they are both being initiated into something, like a belief system, a structure, whatever the Hierophant is the ruler of, or whatever the Hierophant is teaching them. And so I feel for some of you that maybe, if you have been hoping and praying for love or asking the universe for love, it is like you and a person have been being prepared for each other. And I guess it would probably be a good thing that they're showing up here because, it's like they're, it probably would be a good thing is what I'm trying to say because, I think that based off of this reading, it could say that they're coming in now, so something I would pay attention to. There's another thing I'm getting off this card here, Pisces, that's popping into my head. I will tell you, there's a great book. One of my favorite books is called Write It Down, Make It Happen. And in that book, the lady who wrote the book, she one of her favorite exercises, I think, is to have a compliment journal. So whenever you receive a compliment, you write it down. But you write it down as a quote. And you put, if you know the person's name who gave you the compliment, you write it down, right? And so you're kind of gassing yourself up here. And sorry, I am making a mess today. So let me fix this. So you write it down as a quote, and then whenever you're having a bad day or whatever, even a good day, right? I think we should be doubling down on our good days too. When you have a good day, make it better, because then you're just going to expand that energy as well. But you read it, and you just kind of gas yourself up, right? And I don't know, I kind of feel like you need that, Pisces, something like that. And the exercise she has you do is you can think back to, as far as you can remember. Just get a little notebook and write down all the compliments that you've received over the years that you can remember. You can also write down wins that you've had as well, any accomplishments, achievements, whatever. And it's it's one of my favorite exercises as well because it's when you see the when you do it and you just see how much good stuff has happened in your life, hopefully. Then, it kind of makes you believe in yourself a little bit more. And I don't know, that's popping into my head with this card, the Four Swords. And you might be saying, what the hell does that have to do with the Four Swords? Well, the Four Swords and the Hierophant both can represent blessings. There is a person who is blessing this other person here. But I kind of am getting a message you need to stack your blessings. It's you need to see all the blessings that you have in your life with that card, right? You have this Page of Cups. Page of Cups definitely could be a love offer. We have love going up here. You do end in the Seven of Swords, but the Seven of Swords is coming up in the area of the good stuff, obviously, so this person probably is not a liar, cheater, stealer. Could be a very independent person. And, again, the Seven of Swords and the good stuff could say it's a very truthful person. With the Hierophant, here you go. It's you are getting a blessing you've wished for, is what this is saying. I think you've earned it, though. I think this is something, I don't really like when people say that you've passed a test. I don't like to say it either, but, it's almost kind of, maybe let's put it this way. I think the universe is saying here, you have kind of checked off some milestones, right? It's again, do I think what I'm about to say is true? No, maybe not. But, it's sometimes I think there are, to get something that we truly want in life, I think maybe there are certain, milestones that we have to hit before the universe is okay, green light, right? And, it is almost that's what this is saying. I don't think this is just something that you're magically getting. It could be love. It could be anything, honestly, because, Two of Cups can be you and your higher self. He's hoping and praying for something on the Four of Swords. But it's almost like you have finally checked off those milestones, right? With the Four of Swords, you have the Page of Swords. Page of Swords is a card of curiosity. Again, with the Aquarian energy, I think that it would be an amazing time for you to tap into your curiosity. Anything you're interested in, it would be a great time to research. With the Page of Cups, you have the Seven of Cups. Spoiled for choice. Definitely dreamy energy going on here. Could be a very dreamy person. Could also be you. I mean, you're very dreamy, Pisces, but could be a very dreamy person. Next, in the area of messages from your future self, you have this protection card and this meant to be card. Yes, clearly something is meant to be in your life. This could be a person. It could be these blessings. I also feel like something is protected. Like if you're worried, like I think you need to be careful of those worries, Pisces, of like thinking, especially if you've been single for a while, right? Like let's put it this way, in love or business, like if you haven't had money, same thing. It's like sometimes I think in love, if we haven't had love, like once we find it, we're just like, we immediately start worrying about losing it, right? Same thing with money. If you all of a sudden start making more money, your brain might immediately jump to the fear of loss. And so I feel this is saying like correct those thoughts. Make sure you need to understand that something is protected in your life and it doesn't have to go down. You have the Temperance card, the Two of Cups, and the Queen of Wands. I feel like you've made all the right changes, is what the Temperance card is saying, It's like saying that you have done all the right things to create a change. Now, it's like now I almost feel like this path has like recently appeared behind you, Pisces. I think this path, this path is called the path to glory on the Temperance card, and there's that glowing crown. I feel like this path is just like waiting for you to step onto it. It's like you're still, I kind of get the feeling that your future self is saying, Pisces, you're still trying to like fix certain things in your life that are like you just need to go start something else. You need to, get off on this path, go do something new. It's like there's nothing more for you to fix. And that is definitely popping into my head with this card. So, I have nothing else to say. You have the Two of Cups. Two of Cups can be a perfect match. So obviously, if you're attracting love, could be a perfect match. Two of Cups is basically opposites attract. They're meant to look different on this card because they are two different people. You probably are attracting something very different. Now, everybody has been getting this since about 2023, and so what I will say is that back in like 2022. Somewhere around there, we ended these like long-term Scorpio cycles we were having, and in the astrology, and these Scorpio cycles kind of peaked in the 70s, which is really interesting. That divorce kind of like peaked in the 70s as well. So I'm not saying relationships are going to be perfect moving forward, but I do think that maybe we're entering into a time where we are going to be just maybe picking better people, or it's like, I don't know, maybe people have learned their lessons or whatever they need to learn to be better people. And so it's like, if you're a better person, they're a better person, two good people coming together, probably a good thing. I also feel like there's like no ego here as well. It's kind of popping into my head. Kind of a weird message, but normally this lion right here can represent the ego in the connection. It can be bad and it can be good on this card, right? And I consider myself a holistic reader. So when I'm reading, I look at everything that's going on in this reading. And so, to me, it looks like, just looking at everything, that this could, like, I kind of feel this is two people. Like, again, nothing is perfect. There will always be things that pop up, But I think for the most part, this is like two people that have kind of like conquered their ego. And it's like, I don't really have any good examples for you, Leo. Leo, oh my God. It could be a Leo, because I just said Leo. I was talking about the lion there. Could be any sign that you're attracting. Doesn't really matter. But it's like, one of those things. It's like, sometimes you can be with a person, I think, and they can complain about things that they could just fix. It's like, it's like the dishes, and like, maybe you're with a person who's like, why can't you put away your dishes when they're standing right there? They could just do it. It's like, yeah, it's annoying to have to do something for a person sometimes, and it can be annoying, but it's like, or you could just do it. It's like right there, and if you have a dishwasher, what's the problem anyway? You just throw it in the dishwasher. It takes about 2 seconds, right? And so it's like, I think you're attracting a person like that. But it's like, again, like to me, let's put it this way. If what I just said, if that was one-sided, I think it would be toxic, right? If you were dating a person who is always doing that, always leaving their dishes out, that would be toxic. But if they do it every once in a while, here and there, is it really a big deal? Probably not. You probably do things, and, again, I think this person might pick up after your dirty ass as well. So, you know what I mean? It's like, I think it's a very balanced connection is how I'm seeing it in my head. You have the Queen of Wands. Very attractive at this time. I think you're very seductive at this time, Pisces. It makes sense. I mean, Pisces obviously is very attractive, especially if you're watching Minnow Tarot. Only the smartest, most attractive people watch Minnow Tarot. People who don't, you know what I mean? I don't want to speak negatively about them, but, I don't know. I think the proof is in the pudding, as they say. So there you go. But, I would get yourself out there. Obviously, the card of attraction, so you could be attracting a lot of people at this time. The other thing is, Pisces, definitely time to follow your inspiration. She has this sunflower right here. Sunflower points towards the sun. But again, I just see it in my head as like you needing, it's more like the message I'm getting here, which I said at the beginning of the reading, is that you need to not question yourself, like, or your ideas. It's like your ideas are good. The things you are being inspired to do right now are going to lead to a good result, but not if you don't get started. With the Temperance card, you have the Seven of Wands, card of conviction. Seven of Wands says when you know that something is for you, then it's for you. It's like a card of really believing something deep down inside. Also a great time for boundaries. With the Two of Cups, yes, are you kidding? You have the Three of Pentacles. Exactly what I said. Three of Pentacles is an amazing card for teamwork, you know? And so again, I think you could really be attracting a very like supportive teamwork type person. I don't know. I think this could go both ways, Pisces. It's like, you know, it's like you could be coming in a support position for this person, like you could be supporting them, but or vice versa, they could be supporting you, your vision. You know, the thing about the Three of Pentacles is like usually one person is the captain, you know, is the best way I can put it, right? It's like this guy here is the leader. He is the one that's calling the shots. These people are coming in a support position, but I don't think this is a bad thing at all. You know, I think for some of you, you'll be happy. It's like either, you know, it's like, you know, let's pretend you marry like a freaking billionaire. It's like obviously, you know, it's like if they're making all the money, it's like who cares? You might support whatever their business is, right? That's maybe a bad example, but you know, I think you get where I'm going. But this could be vice versa as well. Again, you could be attracting a person who's very, you know, kind of like supportive of your direction as well. With the Queen of Wands, you have the Ten of Swords. Ten of Swords is like says something is dead, done, over with, but Ten of Swords can be a blessing in disguise. You know, what I feel here, Pisces, is that you could be feeling like all this freedom. You know, you could be feeling a lot of freedom that is, you know, you could be doing a lot of things that are giving you like the freedom of movement is more what I'm getting here. And it's like, now that I think about it, again, I usually don't talk about myself too much in Pisces readings because I pull myself out of the reading. But like I will say there are a lot of things I've been doing recently to like free myself up this year, like this coming year, you know what I mean? And it makes sense with Uranus and Gemini. That Uranus and Gemini energy, I think will really make Pisces want to be more, like want to have more freedom of movement or freedom of action, whatever you want to call it. Another card of a blessing, by the way, he's making a symbol right here. Same symbol the Hierophant is making, represents a blessing in disguise. So a lot of blessings here. Next, you have this Immerse card and this Calm card. Yeah, I think practicing calm energy would be a good idea for Pisces. You know, you are born so close to Aries as well. Aries is born right after you. And we have all this energy going into Aries over the next, you know, little bit of time here. Right now, Neptune and Saturn are retrograding back into Pisces. And, you know, Saturn, I think, on the 1st, right? And then Neptune whenever. And, you know, again, next year, by the time we get to March, they'll both be back into Aries. And we have Chiron in Aries as well. So I think that, you know, that Aries energy could be making you a little bit more fired up, which part of me feels is very good for you because I think it'll make you motivated, especially Saturn. I really like Saturn in the 2nd. It can be a little bit of a pain in the ass, and you know, you've had Saturn in the 1st for a long time. I think here's another blessing that I will tell you about here, Pisces, is also the North Node in Pisces. And that North Node will be coming up to the Ascendant whenever, and your Ascendant, right, probably, if you are, I should say if you are a Pisces or Aquarius rising, depending on where that is for you, which, you know, it's like, thinking about the timing of that is crazy to me. You know, especially for you Aquarius rising people, or, you know, again, Pisces rising, you know, you're going to have to look at your chart and see what your rising sign is. You know, but that, you know, in the near future, that North Node is going to make its way towards your Ascendant. You know, that could be like fated changes in your destiny, things like that. So, you know, and the reason I'm babbling on about this is because, again, you know, you're going to have to look at your chart and make sure, but, you know, if this is with Saturn in the 2nd, with like the same time of this happening, I don't know, there's something that could be happening like in your career, or you could be working towards something in business that, you know, really could make you very successful. You have the Seven of Swords, and this is going to be over the next, you know, couple of years here. You have the Seven of Swords, the Hermit, and the Eight of Wands. The Seven of Swords can be lying, cheating, stealing, but again, in the good stuff, it can say that you are discovering better ways of doing things. He's stealing those swords from the army in the background. Again, I think this is probably one of the best things Pisces could do, is like look at what you're doing and just say to yourself, is there a better way? And I don't know. You're going to have to answer that question, Pisces. You're going to have to figure it out, but if you do, I think you'll be happy that you did. You have the Hermit. I do feel like you could be getting out of hermit mode and getting more attention, which would be good for you. I see this as movement, though. I don't know why, Pisces. You have like 0 cards of movement except for the Eight of Wands next, which is a good card of movement. But I just feel a lot of movement in the reading is the best way I could describe it. And, this could be any type of movement. This could be you like literally moving. It could be you making moves. It could be you just traveling, whatever. And I feel that a lot of you are really going to be starting to taste more flavors of the world. I see you becoming more worldly. And yeah, this is a weekly reading, but I think this is something that you're going to be doing over the next couple of years. I kind of feel maybe it's coming up because you've been thinking about it. I also think it's coming up because it might surprise you a little bit, but in a good way. It's like if you are doing things, if you're a homebody Pisces, like most Pisces are, and all of a sudden you're doing stuff with your life, you could be surprising yourself a little bit here with this energy. But this is good. You have the Eight of Wands. Eight of Wands is quick success or quick movement. I do feel if you're attracting a person, it could move quickly, or more quickly here. It could be any sign. Earth stands out to me here, for sure. So it could be an Earth sign, obviously, but I think it could move more quickly. Eight of Wands is a quick success as well, so there could be a success happening quickly for you here, Pisces. I like it. I think here's the other thing I want to say to you, Pisces. Let me put it this way: if you are thinking about doing something that you are afraid is going to take years, I have 2 pieces of advice for you. Number one is that, one of my favorite quotes of all time, I think it's Brian Tracy, but I might be wrong. He says, in 5 years, it's going to be 5 years anyway. Meaning that if you're going to do something that is going to take 5 years, in 5 years, it's going to be five years anyway. So it's like, you might as well get somewhere in the next 5 years, right? And, it kind of reminds me, like, I'm going to be restarting my podcast. I had a podcast that I started probably 3 years ago. I was literally thinking about this yesterday. I was like, man, if I just stuck with that, I would be 3 years ahead, basically, right now, right? And so that's kind of popping into my head here. The other thing is, Pisces, again, I think Pisces is in a time where they're connecting the dots. So it's like, it's not going to take you that long. It's like something's going to happen faster than you think. I'm not saying it's going to be perfect. I'm not saying it's going to happen overnight. But, if you think 3 years, maybe it takes a year and a half, right? That's a lot faster. It'll be here before you know it. With the Seven of Swords here, you have the Hermit again. So there could be some truths coming out, but these would be good truths because it is coming up in the good stuff, right? And we are kind of in a time of the truth coming out anyway. I said this in all the September readings. Here you go. With the Hermit, you have the Star. It is time to shine your light. The Hermit has the star in his lantern, And so he needs to, I always say that I think he needs to open that lantern up and shine his star. And then you get the star, which literally says it's time for you to shine your light bright. Also, that Aquarius energy could be an Aquarius that you are attracting, or someone with Aquarius in their chart that you're attracting here, Pisces. Because you have Aquarius like 4 times. But, definitely. But, again, I think this is more about you shining your light. With the Eight of Wands, you have the Nine of Wands here. Yes, this could be something. It's funny that I said the podcast thing, because this could definitely be something you've tried before. And, this would basically be saying, don't give up now. Make sure you see something through to the end, or make sure if you're going to get started that you, keep going, basically. You have the Star card. Again, it says guaranteed success. There you go. So if you're thinking about doing something, you will be successful. You have this Bat card that says, take care, enemies are working against you. I'm going to show you this, and I'm going to pull the next 2 cards as well. So it says, take care, enemies working against you. You have this February card, and this Lightning card that says, control your anger or you will be sorry. I think those 2 things are together. And what I would say is definitely until like March of next year. Even though this says February, I would wait until March. No reacting to people, places, things, no road rage especially, no getting mad at people in the home, things like that. I've probably said this to you recently before, but it is a good time to just kind of let things go, right? In a very bad time for like road rage, stuff like that. You have this dog close up. It says pleasure with a close friend. Yeah, I would encourage you to socialize. It's an amazing time to socialize. You have this pail that says time to get out of a situation. I don't think you're getting out of a situation. I think you are evolving a situation. If you feel like you need to upgrade something, I would do it. If you feel like you need to change something, I would do it. I think that's where all the benefits are going to come from for you. But pretty good reading here, Pisces. I like this. So thank you for being here, and definitely enjoy your week.